Sup, and welcome to a Library Chess Productions movie review. I got the Punisher here, I got a Punisher shirt, we match, so that means we're best friends, and I'm going to review I Kill Giants. And if you don't know what it's about a 12-year-old girl who has to fight giants. Hence the title, I Kill Giants. I'm not going to say any more because I don't really like reviews that go in depth a lot about what the plot is. I figure you should just experience it for yourself, and if you're like me, that was enough to rope you in. Or, of course, if you read the graphic novel, which I did not, so I actually had no investment prior to watching it. I just thought it looked like an interesting film. So this movie is directed by Anders Walter. This is his debut feature as far as I can tell. I know he's done a few short films, but I've never seen him, so this is my first experience with him. And I'm not going to say that I'm impressed, like I'm not touting him as a great director that is going to go on to do amazing things in the future. He might, but what I can tell you from my first experience with him is that he's certainly a good director. I don't know the exact budget of this movie, but you got to assume that it's pretty low. And what Walter is able to do is he knows what he can and cannot do, which is very important to a movie of this size, or really in general. But I mean, it's even more important for a movie that doesn't have much of a budget. So he has to use his giants and whatnot in a creative and interesting way, or just a way that he can work around his limitations. You may not see the giant much. You hear him, you might see a hand, sometimes you do see him, but he's able to make that work, and that's hugely important. And the reason I say he's a good, not amazing director is because while everything is completely solid, his fundamentals are sound, the movie looks good, even though some people might not like the fact that it's kind of desaturated a little. Personally, I don't mind because A, I don't really mind dark movies in general, and B, it does fit the mood. It's a very dreary movie, and it does look like a very dreary movie. The only thing I need from a film is to commit to its aesthetic, and I feel like this does. But back to what I was saying, he doesn't do amazing shots. You're never going to sit there wondering, oh, geez, how did he get that shot? Or, wow, I'm going to remember that scene. You could put that on the wall and look at it forever. It's not like it's Denis Villeneuve. He's not that. But he does have some good shots, some good atmospheric nature shots, which I'm always a fan of, like wide angle shots. I don't know, it's just a preference of mine. I think they look beautiful, and he does use some of them. But like I said, his fundamentals are sound. He's a good director. He might even go on to do great things. I'm not saying he's not going to, because he certainly has a good starting point. But what's a movie if it doesn't have good writing? And this, it does have, for the most part, it's got good writing. It's just when it gets to the end, it kind of loses some of its nuance that it displayed earlier in the film. And I'm not saying this is like completely deep or really even subtle movie, because there's nothing really that subtle about giants that want to destroy the city or the town. But it doesn't hammer you over the head with it throughout the whole movie. And at the end of it, it's like the writer was like, I need to make sure you know what this means. And it gets a little hammy. It didn't get me out of the moment because it's such a tender, beautiful ending. But it's like you could have done it better. You could have, I don't know why, but it's like they treated the ending a little differently than the rest of the movie. Now, Zoe Saldana, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, is probably the most recognizable actress in this, maybe Poots. But the star is Madison Wolfe. And Madison Wolfe plays the 12-year-old Barbara who's fighting these giants. And anytime that you put a kid into a main character role, you're always going to deal with the fact that, well, it's a kid. I've always said that it's more impressive to me when a kid puts in a really good performance, because I feel like it is harder for the child to get into the character and pull off the emotional highs and lows and do the crying and the action and the what have you. And Madison Wolfe does a really good job here. I don't think I'm going to consider her for Best Actress by the end of the year, but even if she doesn't make it, I got to give all the props in the world to her, because she did make her character believable. And trust me, it was not always easy to like this character, because the character was a bit of a snot. So what do I think about I Kill Giants? Well, I'm giving it the business. And I'm giving it the business because I can do it from home, so that makes it easy. I don't have to, leave my house. I can just keep being a hermit. But also because I do think it is a really solid movie. I would even say a very good to great movie. And I don't mean great as in, oh, that's great, what a great movie. I think, no, it's a pretty great movie. That's different. If you can't tell the difference between that, that's probably my fault, not yours. But anyway, I'm going to end this with one thing. I'm going to find out what my rabbit, Castle, in case you are new to this channel, what he thinks of this movie. So I'm going to say my bye now and end it with the rabbit. Like every video should end. See ya.
So what do you think? Nice.